straight out of
NASA City, Houston, Texas.
Get ready for Tejano Time Podcast. Houston, Texas, tonight.
Giving you the news you can use and bringing you the hottest interviews in the Tejano industry.
It's about to go down with your host, Keith Leon. Houston, Texas.
Are you ready? Let's go.
Tejano Time Podcast starts
Now.
Please welcome your host, Keith Leon.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode here of the Tejano Time Podcast. Hope you guys are having a fantastic evening on this Monday. To everyone that's joining us también on Tejano TV, all right? We're streaming it live there on Tejano TV as well. Our YouTube channel también, thank you so much for tuning into the show. As soon as you guys start logging in, please share the live as well, all right? So for those of you that are watching the show from wherever you may be, just definitely share the live. I would like to welcome for the very first time here on Tejano Time Podcast, another great artist out there doing great things, got some great music as well. We're going to get to know him here on the show this evening on this Monday here on the Tejano Time Podcast. Mr. Mario Alberto, welcome to the Tejano Time Podcast, my brother.
¿Qué onda, Keith, man? How you doing, man? Really appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight, man. I've been looking forward to this all weekend, man. So excited to be here, man. Appreciate it.
It's an honor. I'm doing great, man. It's an honor to have you here on the show. I know you've been on our radio show before in the past with Mr. Rick the Joker.
Ricky,
That's
yeah.
right. Yes, con Ricky.
Yeah.
So I said I got to get this guy on the podcast. And we just get so busy and so swamped at times. But I was like, no, he's got a second single, so let's do it.
Yeah.
But yes, man, definitely. Again, that's Seattle, Washington. Is that where you're home base right now?
Yeah, I'm out of Seattle. I'm about 20 minutes south of like downtown Seattle, man. So it's the Emerald City. I love it. Been up here probably about 30-ish years now or so up in Seattle, man. So
Wow.
love it.
Where are you originally from?
So my family's originally from Texas, like from Edinburgh,
Okay.
Valle in San Antonio.
Valle.
But we've grew up most of our life in Oregon. We were the typical migrants, right? Going from Texas up to Oregon. And just kind of landed at Oregon, man. So Oregon became home. That's where I grew up and all that stuff. So
amazing. That's awesome. That is awesome. Definitely. And we want to shed some light on some of the music that you have, and we're going to get to here during the show as well. También, I know you're out doing a promotion for your new single that you have out, Hoy.
Yep.
Y también you have a previous sophomore single también we'll talk about here during the show. As we get to know you just a little bit more out there, for everybody that's out there tuned to the show, share the live wherever you may be tuned in again, guys. So thank you so much. Any comments you might have for Mario Alberto, if you are familiar with Mario and you like his music, feel free to drop a comment in the box for him and let him know what's going on or what's up, and any questions you may have for him, for sure, drop them in there. We'll definitely get to those also as well. So, so how long have you been doing the singing thing, bro?
Man, so my whole family is musical, right? My mom and my dad are both musical, so it's in the blood, man. It's in the DNA. I think I started playing and traveling when I was like 15, 16 years old. Doing the local Tejano scene up in Oregon, Washington, Idaho. Did that for several years, and kind of left the Tejano scene for a little bit. Did the whole banda, the onda grupera, during the 90s. Went out, did that for a while. Then I kind of went into retirement for several years.
Yeah.
And then came back in like 2019, 2020, right around COVID, as a matter of fact, and got back into it. And so it's only been about a year maybe since I've been, actually, I think it was a year and here at the 1st of September that I've officially gone out as a solo artist, kind of branching out on my own. So I'm relatively new as a solo artist, but I've been in the industry for a few years. I won't say how long, because, find out how old I am, right? But but I've been around for a little bit, been around the block a time or two.
Yeah. So how's the scene up there in Seattle right now for where Tejano was? I know I've got some friends that are up there in Washington, different areas, and some bands that we have here locally. También, out of the state of Texas, go out there to perform as well for festivals and things that they have out there as well. So how strong is the scene out there for Tejano music?
In Western Washington, it's very spotty. There are pockets where Tejano music is I'll say it's still alive. I won't say that it's thriving, but it's still alive. East of the state, it's actually got a pretty big presence. Out like in the Tri-Cities, Yakima, Granger area, there's a heavy Tejano population out there. And so it stays busy out there, right? But as far as there's, I think maybe 2 or 3 local bands out between Seattle and Eastern Washington, that will play primarily during the summer, do kind of like the local weddings and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's still alive. It still has a pulse. And because there's a lot more bands now, because I think like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, there was only 1 or 2 bands, but there's a few more bands that are coming up, especially people coming in from Idaho. I'm in, partnering with people in Washington. So it's helping to keep that push going. So, and it's great to hear the new bands that are coming out there. So it's exciting.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know Idaho's we got some big supporters out there también. So a big shout out to any of those guys out there también that get a chance to watch the show as well here on Tejano Time. My guest tonight, Mr. Mario Alberto, all right, and he's got some great stuff, man, some great music. So if you haven't heard it, stick around for that. We're going to get to it here in just a few more minutes. So Mario, I know you've been in the business for some time. I'm not going to say how long, but I mean, you said over about, you stepped away, you came back, but your very first performance, do you recall any of that? I don't have any video, just so you know.
Yeah. Man, I think I was 15 or so, something like that. I was playing drums at the time, and man, it was a hot mess. It was, my first public performance, my first, time being in a bar. I'm 15, and like kind of like we were talking about it, but everybody's drinking, everybody's smoking. It's like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
And stepping into that was I felt like totally out of place.
Totally, but I would imagine you had your pop. There, that north they call it pop, right?
Yeah,
soda.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being 15, and I think I had 2 rehearsals with the band that I was with, and we did a 4-hour set, and it was, like I said, it was 2 rehearsals. They sent me the laundry list of songs, like, okay, here we go. Here's all the songs we're going to do. Fortunately, I knew a lot of them because I've been listening to Tejano music my whole life, right? So I had at least a really good understanding of the songs. And so stepping in there at 15 years old, man, it was crazy. My dad was totally against it, but but I did it anyway.
Well, yeah. You did it anyway, right? Yes, and look where you are today.
Anyway,
sharing, some music with the world out there. So yeah, that's pretty amazing, as well. Mario Alberto. Okay, guys. So we're gonna get to some music here in just a few minutes. We've got some more questions for him. There's no doubt about that. We want to get to know a lot about Mario tonight. So we want to send a big shout out también to Rosie, Rap Rosie, también, who distributes your music también here. Within the state of Texas and probably beyond as well. There's a lot of radio stations out in California and whatnot. I'm sure she works with the stations around the world. So definitely big shout out to her también. So if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have her through music. For sure.
Yeah, Rosie's been great and helping me find a lane in the Tejano industry, right? Not just in Texas, but in New Mexico and Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and in the Midwest. Out in Michigan and so forth. So it's nice to get that exposure. And she's been a big part in helping me get my music out there. So yeah, saludos a Rosie.
Yes, for
sure. Heather, Heather is partnering with her también now. She's got Heather under her wing too. So Heather Jolene.
Awesome. Yes. Another great artist. Some great stuff out there. Great music también. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to her music, look her up. She's on social media. She's on all digital platforms también. So look them up, check it out. And Rosie, again, shout out to Rosie. Thank you so much for all you do for the industry. So what are some of the biggest challenges you faced as a beginner when you started this whole thing right here? And how well did you overcome those challenges? I know everybody starts somewhere, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens.
It's interesting because I had always been in the industry as a musician, and somebody else always worked the business side. And so coming in as a solo artist last year, I was like, man, I don't really know anybody. How am I going to get my music out there? And, the last time I did any type of promotion was with the band that I played with years ago, where, that was back in the days where you printed out cassettes and J cards and you made posters and, you distributed your music that way. But the industry's changed drastically over the years, right? With technology and streaming and so forth. And so it was drinking from the hose, man, trying to figure out how do I produce my own music? How do I release my own music? How do I, copyright and register my music? I was basically starting from ground zero. And so just leveraging the people that I knew, lots of Siri searches, lots of Google searches, and trial and error.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. And so now that I've got a few, releases out, I know the protocols on how to get it out. I still got to work on the marketing and the performance side, though. That's just constant, especially with everything, social media now, right?
Right.
And so, some of those challenges were just not knowing who to turn to, how to distribute music. I started with one distributor, who was helpful, to help me make some connections. And then when I connected with Rosie, she definitely was a huge connection to help get my music out there and so forth. But I think the biggest challenge was just not knowing who or how the music industry worked. And then just over time, making the connections, making the networks, and that's made it easier, to get me. I mean, you still got to produce good music, right? But at least you've got people that you can lean on that can help get your music out there and stuff. So. Yeah.
And networking is the best way to go, honestly. There's no doubt about that. There's always so many people out there that that will take the time to actually work with a lot of artists, or whether it be networking and share your music. An artist will share your music, not all, but there is some that are out there that will definitely give it a helping hand and give you some connections and whatnot to help you. So that's a good thing about the industry here. Mr. Antonio Vega had a question here. Well, not a question so much. He says, I may have missed it, but who was your favorite male vocalist growing up? Well, you'd miss it because we haven't got there yet, Tony, but yes, but that's
Antonio,
a good question.
I appreciate the question. And saludos también, man. Man, there's so many. As I mentioned, my parents were musicians, and I had so many influences growing up. To just say who was my favorite, man, I think I'd have to say David Mares back in the Royal Jesters days, and Jimmy Edwards coming in with Latin Breed, right? And so those guys are both pioneers. David Mares still sounds great today, right? But Jimmy Edwards, man, he just had one of those silky smooth voices, man, that just he was such a great storyteller when he sang with Latin Breed, and even when he did stuff on his own. And so I think I'd have to go back if I were just to nail it down to a couple vocalists. I'd have to say those two would probably be the top two. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. He says, "Oh, wow." So he's some great, like you said, pioneers right there in the industry. David Mares, Jimmy Edwards.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys right there. Again, he nailed it with that. There's no doubt about that, man. They're still doing. David's still got some. He got some new stuff out, Mr. David Mares as well. So definitely doing his things. And Mr. Jimmy Edward, may he rest in peace as well. But again, his music is still there. You guys can go out there and check it out if you're not familiar with it. I'm sure you are. But that's awesome to hear. He says there, Mr. Antonio. So appreciate you, Tony. Thank you so much. Over at West Texas, TejanoExplosion.com. Who's out over in Lubbock, Texas. For supporters of the show as well.
It's interesting. I'm still kind of processing that question. You look at all the different genres, right? From the 70s to the 80s to the 90s, right? Jay Perez, for me personally, was such a huge influence growing up vocally and in his style. And even like Fito Olivares and Selena, getting more into the 90s and you look at even vocalists today, right? There's so much new talent out there, man. There's so many great vocalists out there now in their own styles that are unique, and some are soulful, some are very traditional, right? And so it's, there's just so much great talent out there, which to me is exciting, right? Because it's, when you get a question like that, who's your favorite artist? Like, man, there's just so many, right? Because there's just so much, so much to choose from now, which is great.
Yeah, which is definitely great. Yeah, there's so many of them out there. Antonio says also, well, he was not expecting that much respect, for but that's great, Antonio. Yes, definitely. I mean, when you got to talk highly about some pioneers, and it doesn't happen often. Put it that way. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't, give respect to other people out there. There's a lot of them that doesn't. But Mr. Mario Alberto here highly spoke very well of those guys. So yes, so. Yeah, you're always going to expect something different here on the show, guys. So, yes, my guest tonight, Mr. Mario Alberto. Okay, look him up, guys, on social media también. All right, whenever you get a chance, and we'll get those handles here later on, whatever sites he is on. También we'll get those before the end of the show. We definitely want to get this guy out there and for sure share his music with everybody out there. We want to play a song here probably in about another 5 minutes, we're going to get to a couple of the songs. All right, we have 2 songs that we're going to feature here during the show también. So, what is your perspective on the? Well, I guess we had already talked about this early on in the show. I got to it, pretty earlier, but the scene there in Seattle with the Tejano music, like you said, and there's some pockets here and there. So we did cover that as well. Again, songwriting, Mario. Do you do any songwriting whatsoever?
Yeah, with the exception of Oi, all my other releases have been originals. The previous band that I played with, I wrote some songs for them as well. And their latest release was a song that I wrote and I arranged for them and so forth. So, yeah, I've gotten several songs out there. I think 3 or 4 songs with the previous band that I was with, and then the 3 originals that I've released. And then, like I said, Oi is the first cover that I have released.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
So far has been original.
Been original. Awesome. Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, we're definitely going to look for some more some more future music as well as that's to come. We'll get to that as well in the show. We get used to the same answers on the same people with so much talent. Thank you. Okay, that was from Mr. Antonio as well. Definitely. That was, I guess, the conversation that we were on, the same answers. Yeah. And, yeah, but he's right in a way.
Yeah.
Saludos, Tony. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's subjective, right? Everybody's. It's like food. Everybody's got a different palate. Music's kind of the same way. There's that big question of is Tejano conjunto or is it keyboard driven, right?
Right.
And everybody's got their own preference, right? And that's okay. That's a great thing about the Tejano music genre. Right, there's the old school folks, and there's the new school folks, right? But it's all Tejano at the end of the day, right?
At the end of the day, yeah, you are definitely right about that. Yes, sir. So, let's get to one song right now. I definitely want to share it. And let's talk about your, before we get to your new single, Oi, which is spinning right now, which is doing very, very well as well. But your sophomore single that was released, your song that was released there, about in April, I want to say, back in April?
Yeah, March, April timeframe around that time. I actually released it on, I think it was March 20-something. It was on International Women's Days when I released it.
Yeah,
I have to go back to look at the calendar. So some intentionality behind it.
Yeah, and I was going to say there's not a story behind there, but I know that you want to speak about the song before we play it, so that way you can definitely think it, because it's a great song for well, let's get the scoop. Let's get the scoop as to what's behind the song here, which is entitled what is it? Eres Bella.
Yeah. Eres Bella. Yeah. So the Eres Bella is a song that I actually wrote for my wife, just knowing my wife's story, what she went through in a previous relationship where she just wasn't valued, right? And was told all kinds of negative things, which is unfortunate for a lot of women in relationships, right? Well, and men too, for that matter, right? And it wasn't until I was able to appreciate her for who she was. Right. And I didn't have any expectations that you have to be X, Y, or Z. Right. I accept you the way you are. So to me, you're perfect. You're beautiful for me. Right. It is Bea. And that's really the kind of the essence behind the song for a lot of women, is that just you're perfect just the way you are. Just because somebody doesn't appreciate you for who you are doesn't mean that you're broken, doesn't mean that you're not perfect for somebody. Right. You always hear the adages, right? Well, somebody's garbage is somebody else's treasure. And, not that I would ever equate women or people just to garbage, but when somebody doesn't appreciate what you have, somebody else will.
Somebody else will.
Right. Yeah. And that's really the premise behind Eres Bella. There's a line in there that says, ¿Quién te dijo que tenías que ser tal y tal como eres perfecta para mí. Right. And so there's just no expectations. Just come as you are. And, because I'm not perfect. So who am I to put expectations on somebody else that they got to be perfect?
Right. Yeah. Right. True. Very true. So take a listen to the song, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know what you think as well. Let him know what you think about this song, ladies. Eres Bella is the name of the song. It's available on all digital platforms. It's a sophomore single here. So you can go out and stream it as well if you like it. You enjoy it. Go out there and search it on all digital platforms. I mean, it's available. We're going to play it right now for everybody out there, and we'll be right back here with some more Mario Alberto right here on the Tejano Time Podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
sin duda reconocí que no era ni como tú y eres sin igual, como un copo de nieve que desciende desde el cielo, fuiste criada para mí. Esa pérdida de alguien es ganancia para mí. Tus fracasos y defectos no me asustan. ¿Quién te dijo que tenías que ser tal y tal? Tal como eres, es perfecta para mí. Chiquita eres, tú eres bella. Brillante como el sol y radias como el sol. Chiquita eres, tú eres bella. Un diamante en bruto. Chapa eres tú. ¡Huepa! Sin mentiras, sin duda reconocí que no era ni como tú y eres sin igual, como un copo de nieve que desciende desde el cielo, fuiste criada para mí. Esa pérdida de alguien es ganancia para mí. Tus fracasos y defectos no me asustan. ¿Quién te dijo que tenías que ser tal y tal? Tal como eres, es perfecta para mí. Chiquita eres, tú eres bella. Brillante como el sol y radias como el sol. Chiquita eres, tú eres bella. Un diamante en bruto. Bella para mí, chiquita eres, tú eres bella, como la llave de mi chapa eres tú. Bella, regia, chiquita eres bella.
There you have it right there. It is Bella right there from Mr. Mario Alberto, guys. So, yes, definitely. We had some people out there tuned in right there. We want to send a big shout out to Mr. Jim Luna, who's watching the show. Mr. Pete Vela from Grupo Pete y Grupo Animo. All right. So, he's tuned into the show. Yes.
Salud,
Irma Perez también says hello. She's tuned into the show. Mr. Juan Mendoza, también saludos from Tejano TV, watching right now. To everybody that's watching the show, también also, we're streaming it live on Tejano TV. Thank you guys for tuning in here to Tejano Time Podcast. Every Monday, brand new show here for you guys. So yes, for sure. Thank you so much. Very nice. Was it Lara Montaña says right there, Montana. Very nice song. Like that, Mr. Antonio también says, this is a great song and on our playlist.
Appreciate that, Tony. Appreciate the love out in West Texas.
Yes, West Texas. Saludos. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, yeah, great song right there. Great cumbia right there. And we'll get to the other cover song that you have out right now también, which, it's I love that song regardless of who sings the song. You know what I mean? And you put your touch on it as well. It's a classic. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Definitely want to share that with everybody out right now here in the show. In just a few more minutes, we'll get to that right now. So, do you have any plans, Mario, to come to Texas anytime soon?
I do. So this trip that I've got coming up in October, I'll be in San Antonio for a few days. I want to try and network with a few more people while I'm down there. I do want to get down there and start performing. I've got somewhat of a band together. I use primarily backing tracks right now, but I've got a couple guys that are interested in coming out on the road. And so I definitely want to get out there and start performing out some of the festivals out there. I'm going to try and make it out to Fanfare coming out in 2025. And try and get some of the festivals out there just to get some additional exposure and just to meet a lot of my supporters of the music. The people in Texas have embraced me and welcomed me into the community. So I appreciate, all the listeners adding me to their playlists and to their, to their radio stations and so forth. So I definitely want to get out there and connect with some of those folks and just share my craft with everybody out there. So.
Yeah, that's a great deal. So we'll be looking out for that in the future. As to, again, coming up next year in 2025, fanfare también, be on the lookout. You might be out there on a stage and somewhere out there. You just never know, guys. So just pay attention to the lineups and stuff like that. I know they come out and they come out pretty quick. So these guys might be out there. You never know. If you like what you hear, definitely. And Mr. Juan Garza says, nice song. I mean, he's tuned into the shows. So
thank you, Juan. Appreciate that.
For tuning into the show. So how has your musical style evolved over time, Mario? I know, like I said, you had some stuff that you were doing there in the 90s. Then you switched it a little bit up and then strayed away from it for a while, and then it was back. So, any notable risks or experiments that you might have taken in your music from that point on till today?
Yeah, it's interesting because personally, it's like my style is morphing, right? Even with the 4 songs that I have out, they're all very different, right? You look at Me Vuelves Loco, which is the first one, right? Super up-tempo energy. Eres Bea's a little bit more chill, and then Si Con Una Vez, that's like straight Tejano, right? And then Always kind of like in the middle, right? So it's changed over the years. The previous band that I was in, we released a song that was kind of reggaetonish cumbia, but it was a hard left from the direction of the band. And so that was a style that I was kind of experimenting with. And I won't say that I'm great at yet, but I'm still, trying to master that area. But I think it's always going to be morphing. I've had people ask me, it's like, what is your style? And I was like, well, it's cumbia, it's Tejano, it's conjunto, it's going to be, whatever I'm feeling, right?
Whatever,
I don't necessarily want to bucket myself into a particular genre, right? Because music is organic, right? So whatever I'm feeling, that's what you're going to get, right? I've got a couple songs that I'm working on right now. One of them is a classic Beatles song that I'm working on that I'm remaking into a cumbia. And so
nice.
And so so it's one of the other cover songs that I'm working on, and then I've got another cumbia in the works too that's got more of a vallenato, South American style cumbia feel to it as well. It's a little bit faster tempo, so it's all over the place. And I've got a couple conjunto songs too that I'm working on, some originals that I'm writing. So it's all over the place. So my style is more it's all about the variety. But that's a reflection of my influence, really. You look at my playlist on my phone, you're going to get classical, you're going to get 80s rock, you're going to get jazz, you're going to get country, you're going to get, Spanish music, you're going to get, some of the narco corridos in there. So you're going to get a whole mix of everything.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Yeah. Sounds like my phone right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got. I want to send a big shout out también to Mr. Juan Mendoza Jr. también again, who has says that we have the single on Mas Chingon Radio. Vote for it on our top 20 countdown. So you guys out there that are watching on Tejano TV right now, or viewing us wherever you may be on any of the social media platforms, guys, because we're on several of them right now. So it's to vote for them. Okay, check them out. Mas Chingon Radio. Vote for it right there. It's a new single. Hoy, I believe, is the one that's the new single. So check it out.
The latest just came out. Yeah, please go out and vote. I welcome the votes. I welcome the exposure and the welcome, like I said, to the Tejano industry. So
for sure, yes. So saludos, Juan. Thank you so much for that info, buddy. Definitely, yes. Awesome. So getting back here to the show right here on Tejano Time Podcast. So if you guys are watching, también again, share the live. We're talking to Mr. Mario Alberto. He is live, and he's over in Seattle, Washington this evening right now. So what drives your passion of music, performance, or what role does your family support as well, play in this whole ordeal with music-wise? I mean, I know you have to have your family support. There's no doubt about that. Without your supporting your family, it's hard to go anywhere and do anything. But if you got them backing you 110%, you're great. You're good to go.
Yeah, totally. I mean, first of all, my wife, she's probably my biggest fan.
Yeah.
My wife, she tolerates me spending time on my keyboard, spending time on the laptop, writing and creatives like, okay, I'm almost done. And then 3 hours later, I'm still almost done. Right. So my wife's my biggest fan. She's a vocalist herself. So she's got a lot of great musical experience as well. So she oftentimes is my soundboard when I'm experimenting. I won't speak for my wife, but I can probably tell you she's probably sick of hearing my songs by this point, even before they release.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Wow.
she's heard all the different variations and all that other stuff. But yeah, so first of all, my wife totally, she allows me to do this, right? And I don't say that because she's controlling. I say that because she's very supportive in what I do. And that's, my motivation really is for not like self gratification. I think maybe years ago, back in the 80s, 90s, I think that was probably my, my biggest chip on my shoulder, the ego. But now I think I'm just at a different place in life where I can appreciate music. And, I want to share, what God's gift has been in my life with people around me. And knowing that my family, not just my wife, but my kids and my siblings and so forth, they're all in my corner, cheering for me. It makes you want to do well for them. Right. And so that's probably my biggest motivation behind it. So I love doing it, as long as I've got breath and as long as, God gives me great health, I want to keep doing it. But yeah, they're my motivation. Right. And now as my fan base is growing, I want to write for my fan base, right? Because I put myself in my listeners' shoes, right? What's life like for them? What are they experiencing, right?
Yeah.
And so I want to be able to connect with my listeners, with my audience through song, right? And so a lot of times my fan base and my audience is my motivation behind it too.
110% on that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That makes a lot of sense too. You definitely want to go with what they're feeling. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've never heard that before from anyone. No one's ever told me that. Spoke that way about it. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Definitely does. Wow. So that's some good stuff right there. Any collaborations that you're versus, like say producers or any artists that you have worked with in the past that you've collaborated before, and what was the experience like?
I do have a collaboration and work. We're just kind of at early stages right now as far as talking conceptually what we're looking for. I don't know if she would want me to kind of let that cat out of the bag.
Cat out of the bag.
Right.
Yeah. No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, no. I want to make sure she's on board yet. But like I said, we're just on early stages. So this will be my first collaboration, working with somebody. And so I've got a couple ideas that I'm working on as part of this collaboration. I haven't sent them her way yet. But it's definitely something that hopefully we can try and start finalizing it between now and the end of the year. So
awesome. Well, that's something to look forward to as well. So all your followers out there that follow Mr. Mario Alberto, it's something to look forward to. So a collab in the works possibly by the end of the year. Who knows? So be on the lookout for that as well. And it's a female, so that's going to be pretty awesome. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
And we're going to turn the page on that, and we'll talk about something else before he happens to let the cat out of the bag, guys. It happens. It does definitely happen, man. So, Mario, let's play the new song right now, the new single. Let's play it for everybody out there that's tuned into the show right now here on Tejano Time Podcast, and we'll get to that one right now. So this is a cover song. Tell me a little bit about the cover song. Let them know, fill them in on it. It's a cumbia, right?
Yeah, so this is an old throwback song from Grupo Mas back in I think they recorded it in 78. I want to say 78, 79, right around that time frame. Hoy, it's done, it's Jimmy Lopez or Jimmy Gonzalez and Joe Lopez, right? Back in the early Mas days. It was done as a ranchera. And every time I heard it, I always heard it as a cumbia. And
right.
So I played around a couple different styles. Yeah. And so, so I've always liked the song. I like the message behind the song. I think I've probably had that song played, during my own breakups, right? Throughout the years. But it's always been a great song, and it's a classic Mas song, from all their greatest hits. And so I actually had this arrangement done like in 2010, something like that, 2011, somewhere around there. But I had just sat on it for a long time. And, it's just kind of morphed over the years. And I finally was like, okay, it's time to release this out and get it out there. So this is my interpretation of Hoy from Mas.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Check this one out right now. Again, all his music is available on all digital platforms. Mario Alberto. Okay, Hoy is the name of the song right here, guys. Check it out. And again, if you like the song, let us know what you think right here on Tejano Time Podcast. Share the live, guys. And saludos to everybody on Tejano TV.
Prometido que te tengo que olvidar, aunque las noches me enferme de llorar y ya no vuelva jamás a suspirar. Hoy, aunque haya sido mi único querer, me he prometido que me tengo que imponer el sacrificio de no volverte a ver. Hoy el sol me dijo que tu amor era mi error, que no me has dado ni caricias ni calor, que solo has hecho más grande mi dolor. Hoy por ser tan tuyo no me he vuelto a preocupar, ni con tus besos yo me he vuelto a equivocar. Por Dios te juro que te tengo que olvidar. Que haya sido mi único querer, me he prometido que me tengo que imponer el sacrificio de no volverte a ver. Hoy el sol me dijo que tu amor era mi error, que no me has dado ni caricias ni calor, que solo has hecho más grande mi dolor. Hoy por ser tan tuyo no me he vuelto a preocupar, ni con tus besos yo me he vuelto a equivocar. Por Dios te juro que te tengo que olvidar. Ay, mi amor, te juro que te tengo que olvidar. Aunque me cueste todo, te juro que te tengo que olvidar.
There you have it. Hoy, Mario Alberto, right here on Tejano Time Podcast. Great song as always, and he did it cumbia style. And for those of you out there that tuned into the show and enjoyed the song, let us know what you thought about that one right there. So yeah, man, another great tune from Mr. Mario right here. So yeah, man, congratulations on your new single right there. And when can we expect more? When can we expect more music from Mario?
Yeah, I've got another song that's about 70% complete right now. So I'm got to try and figure out when I'm going to release, because it's always tricky to release around the holidays, right? So if I
Figured
figured
that out, right?
Yeah, because you're like battling all the traditional Christmas carols and stuff like that. So if I don't release it by Thanksgiving, I'll probably wait till after the New Year
After the
and
New
release.
Year.
So yeah, so we'll see. But I've got a couple cumbias. I've got a like a conjunto norteño song that I'm working on. It's a song that I wrote for my mom and for my sister. My mom passed away about a year ago, a year and a half ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And my sister, my brother-in-law passed away a couple years ago, so I wrote a song just kind of in tribute to them, kind of putting myself kind of in their shoes, what it's like to lose somebody. It's a song that I wrote called Una Noche Más. Okay. And so that one's coming up too. So
wow,
that one's a hard. I have to admit, it's a hard song for me to sing, just because there's so much emotion tied to it. It's hard for me to sing, so I've got to get to a place where I can get into the studio and sing level-headed without allowing the emotion to come up. Because like I said, it's only been a year and a half since my mom has passed, but the emotion is still very raw, still very still very much an open wound, so to speak.
Yes, I would imagine that. Yeah. For sure. So well, we'll definitely be looking out for that as well. Again, you can follow him on his social media platforms. Where can they find you, Mario? I know you're on Facebook, but I know
Facebook,
there's more about
Mario
there.
Alberto. On Instagram, Mario Alberto Music. That's MUZ with the Z-I-C. So it's on Instagram, and the same thing with TikTok, Mario Alberto Music as well on TikTok, right? So you can find me on all those handles. All my music, like you mentioned, it's available on all streaming platforms, YouTube, Pandora, Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, so a lot of those main streaming and downloading platforms are all available. You can find all my music there.
Awesome. That's definitely. Mr. Juan Garza says here, great dancing cumbia, plus the lyrics bring back memories. Yes, that was there for sure. It does. Yeah, good stuff.
Appreciate
right there.
that one.
And, Irma said, nice song también as well.
Thank you, Irma. I appreciate that. That's my sister's name, too. It's my older sister, Irma. It's like, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. I want to send some shout outs to several people that are watching on one of our Facebook channels here. We got Mr. Jesse Villarreal, another great songwriter out over in, he's out in Florida, as a matter of fact, right? Another great artist también as well. He does some great stuff, great music. Maria de la Rosa is watching the show también. Saludos, Maria. AJ Vela, Mr. John Gonzalez, Norma Garza is watching the show. Jesse Trejo, también also from over in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Saludos, Jesse. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Janie Canales también is watching. Irene Cortez, thank you guys so much for watching on one of our Facebook channels as well, shows there. So thank you guys for tuning in. So everybody that's watched the show tonight as well, we appreciate you taking the time to tune into the show right now. We got a couple more questions here from Mr. Mario right here on Tejano Time Podcast. Mario, what is the best advice you have received in your career? I mean, your stint there in the music industry, should I say? Yeah. And how well did you handle that advice, and how did it affect you today to be the person that you are today? Doing your thing, still doing it.
Yeah, I think probably the biggest advice that I've gotten is stay true to yourself and trust your instinct. Right? It's easy. I mean, especially as a new artist, right? As a new artist, you come in with zero fan base, right? Nobody knows who you are from a hole in the wall, right? It's so, when I released my first song, like I mentioned earlier, it's like I didn't have a lot of people that I could leverage on, but I just threw it out there anyway, right? And then a week goes by, and then you get a handful of streams. A few weeks go by, you get a few more. It's just like, man, does my music really suck that bad? And so it's this emotional roller coaster, right? Of, you release a song and it comes out and it's like, oh man, this is great. It's going to be the greatest hit, right? It's going to be the one that's going to bring me the millions, right? And all this other stuff. And then it's like, okay, well, maybe that song didn't perform as well, right? And so there's so many emotions. I think most musicians and artists wear their emotions on their sleeve because it's just out in public, right? But that advice of staying true to yourself, right, is you have to stay the course, because it's a long game. right? Very few people, come out of the gate and they've got instant success, right? There's a lot of people that have, right? But, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And so, just staying true to who I am, not feeling like I've got to compete with this or not feeling like I got to compete with that. As I mentioned, there's enough bandwidth in the music industry that I can find my own lane and be happy with that. I don't have to try and be, the next, one-hit wonder or whatever you want to call it, right? There's, because I don't want to be a one-hit wonder, right? I want to be some sustainability, some longevity, right? But yeah, I just want to stay true to myself and stay humble in the process, man. And so I think that's probably some of the best, really down to earth advice. And the people that have shared that with me are the people that are in my biggest corner, holding me accountable at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
Asking me the hard questions like, why are you really doing this? Because they know where I've come from. They know what my past was, and they know why I did music and, the hurt and the harm that I caused along the way previously. And so they're there to help keep me accountable to make sure that, your heart's in the right place. You're doing it for the right reasons, and your ego's not coming up and, rearing its ugly head. And so keeping me humble and keeping me grounded is probably some of the best advice that I've got, man. But stay true to myself, man. Yeah.
Any advice for the youngsters out there that, are up and coming? Not saying that you are, but you've got some experience under your belt, so there's no any like I said, you've had a path that got you where you are today, and it wasn't easy. I'm sure it hasn't been. There's a lot of rough roads out there. But what advice would you give to any of the young folks out there?
I would say stay at it. Don't give up. Keep pressing on. But at the end of the day, practice self-care, emotionally and physically. As a musician on the road, it's easy to get tired and get wrapped up in everything. I look back at my own career. I wish I would have had a better emotional support team around me, right? There was a lot of physical support in the here, have another beer, this will get you by, or here, take another hit, this will get you to the next gig, right? But what I struggled with was all the emotional challenges that go along with it. Because we're human at the end of the day. We're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days. So I would tell the young folks to keep pressing on, keep staying creative, but make sure you're practicing self-care along the way and taking care of yourself, because as people coming to pay to watch an artist, we want to see the best version of what you bring. And, we've all seen the horror stories on social media of the artists that, they hit the wall and they get a bad rap, but people don't always know the story as to how they got there or why they're there. And so, just having that self-care, will help keep you rooted and really will help you stay focused on really what you want to do at the end of the day. Making decisions when you're not healthy is not a good thing. Right?
No.
So that's
not at all.
That's just a bad road waiting to happen, man. So I would say that stay the course, stay creative, and practice some self-care along the way.
There you go. So all you guys out there thinking about getting that are already up and coming, or just watching the show and need a little advice, definitely take that and run with it. All right. Saludos to Heather. Heather was watching the show. I mean, she says, "Saludos, Mario." Yes.
What's up? I see ya.
And Mr. DJ Smoke from the Tejano y Mas show. También saludos, everyone. Saludos, Smoke. There you are, right there, man. Another great guy right there over at that's the West Texas Tejano Explosion también.com as well. Great guy right there. Great event coming to Houston. So guys, stay tuned. We're going to have some more details coming up right there. We got a big show coming up for you very, very soon with him and the West Texas Tejano Explosion and Houston's TejanoHits.com. So everybody watching the show out there, stay tuned. I got some more info coming for you. Also, we got Gigi La Chicana Guerrero. Saludos from Mission, Texas, and Giras y Desveladas. Yes. Another show that is on Tejano TV as well, man. She's got another podcast as well. Great show también as well. Great artist out there.
From the Valley, from Mission.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Wow, got to get on her show, Mario.
I got family down there. I got family down there in Mission and McAllen, Edinburgh, down in the Valley. Yeah. So saludos a todos del Valle.
Del Valle, yes. Puro 956 down there. All right. So
That's
saludos
right.
everybody out there. So again, guys, my guest tonight right here, once again here on the show at the Tejano Time Podcast, Mr. Mario Alberto. We couldn't thank him enough for taking the time to join us here, on the show. Again, he's live from Seattle, Washington. He got on the show to share his music with everybody out there, to all our audience, whether it be on Tejano TV or anybody on our social media platforms, YouTube, también, everybody that's watching out there. Thank you so much. We definitely appreciate you. Any last words, Mario? Anything you want to add, or you want to send any shout outs to anyone out there?
Shout outs, as I mentioned, to my wife out in Seattle. She's probably watching right now on the YouTube channel, to my family down in Oregon, to all my family in Texas, man, Eastern Washington, San Antonio to Mission, to McAllen, Edinburgh, Westlaco, family out there. Appreciate all the support, and, keep listening. I'm hoping to connect with you guys soon, man. I definitely want to make way out there and start hitting the stages out in your neck of the woods. So looking forward to it.
Looking forward. We're definitely looking forward to him coming to Texas as well, guys. So, again, be on the lookout. We want to send, we got some quick shout outs that just came in right now. Mr. Fabian Peña there says hello de parte de los hermanos, Arcos, hermanos Peña, for sure. Fabian, thank you. Says hello, Mr. Mario.
Hello, Fabian.
Bobby Castañeda, hello
Bobby
from California.
Castañeda.
Yes, watching on our YouTube channel as well. And this is what DJ Smoke here says. I think if you are in a band, dress to impress. That is very important.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, it's interesting, talking about stage attire, right?
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And also age appropriate también, right? I've seen some people kind of push the limits on age appropriateness. But yeah, I think, your dress reflects a lot of your personality, right? And I think a lot of times as musicians, we put on a persona when we hit the stage, right? This is the performer that has to go on, right? So you dress to kind of reflect that, right? Not that you're going to go up there in shorts and flip flops, and whatnot, but yeah, you are a brand, right? You are marketing yourself. So yeah, you definitely want to dress to impress, and let it be a reflection of who you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because some people it's formal, some people it's trendy and casual. So yeah, definitely dress to represent who you are, for sure, man.
Yep. Thank you for that, Mr. DJ Smoke. Yes, and for Mario también for those words as well. We appreciate that. So again, guys, thank you so much, for watching the show tonight here on Tejano Time. As always, every Monday, brand new show here on Tejano Time. We've got another one coming your way. Actually, we got one coming your way Thursday as well this week. So we've got doubled up this week. But one quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back to close out things here with Mario. So a big shout out going out to Urban Automotive Emergency Service on-site repairs. You can call Phil Urbina at 210-370-2619 or 210-573-6619. All right. They'll bring the shop to you. That's Urban Automotive. All right. Also being brought to you by us, Latin Hustle Entertainment. All right. Get access to business management, digital distribution, digital marketing, music publishing, consultation, all that good stuff. Latin Hustle Music Group at gmail.com. Also, Heels on Wheels Mobile Notary, 832-598-5561. You can book your appointment. You can give her a call there. Call Amanda. She'll definitely help you out with some more information on that. Tumbleweed, Texas, Houston's #1 spot for Tejano. All right, book your party today at 832-446-6949. And also, we got here Mr. Alex Alejandro Lopez, ACL Productions, Pro Audio and Lighting. Call him for your next event, 361-318-0229. All right. So, Mario, again, we appreciate you taking the time here to join us on the show. You're welcome back anytime, my brother. We wish you the best of luck with anything you have coming up in front of you or whatever you have on your plate to end out the year, to kick off the new year. Good luck on all your projects that you have right now. Video-wise, before we let you go, do you have any videos on YouTube right now for any of the that you currently have out?
Yeah, I've got a video that I recorded for Eres Vea. It's out there on my my artist page. So you can go out and check it out. I can shoot you the link over at the minute if you want it, so you can share that on your page.
For sure.
But it's a video shot in Seattle, so over in West Seattle. So yeah.
There we go. And so again, right now with the current singles you have out right now, you're just going to close out the year. You got a project in the works to maybe a collab before the end of the year. So be on the lookout for that as well, and some upcoming, perhaps maybe some upcoming videos as well. So you guys, if you guys follow him, on all his social media platforms, you will be able to keep up with all the latest stuff from Mr. Mario Alberto. All right. So thank you, Smoke, Mr. DJ Smoke, the Hanoi Mas Show. Great interview. Appreciate you.
Appreciate that. Keith, thank you so much for the opportunity, man. I know you guys have been a great supporter out there in Houston, man, between you and Ricky and the whole Leal family, man. I really appreciate the opportunity to come out here tonight, man. Much appreciated, man.
No problem. We appreciate you taking the time, man. It's as always, we're here for you guys, and we're going to continue to do so. So you're welcome back anytime. Have a great evening. God bless, and thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Saludos, mi gente. We'll see you. La pasen bien.